Chapter 3. A roller coaster ride. The problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem. Jack Sparrow. What do you think is wrong? Neil asked. I told him that Nancy said there was still a possibility that I could be pregnant, even though the first test came back negative. I mentioned that I had managed to get an appointment with family planning, and a second test would confirm one way or the other. Do you want me to come with you? He asked. I was thinking that it was probably going to be negative anyhow, so I said, no, don't worry. I was wrong. Congratulations, the nurse said. You're pregnant. How do you feel about this news? Stunned was the truthful answer, I was thinking. You could have knocked me over with a feather. Gobsmacked, I replied. Happy, I think. She then asked me if I remembered when my period was, just so we can figure out how far along you are. I was pretty certain when the baby was conceived, as sex had not been all that regular due to being ill and moving house. I asked for a calendar so I could work this out. I will forward these details on to your doctor. When you are 3 months along, make an appointment to see him and he will look after you from there, she said. I couldn't wait to phone Neil and tell him the news. I was shaking with excitement, but I was also partly concerned. Neil was ecstatic. A dad! I'm going to be a dad. Well, that explains why you're off your food and feel like throwing up. Hopefully it will pass soon. Love you, babe. See you when you get home tonight. I can't remember who got home first that night, but we were both incredibly happy. Finally, it had sunk in, for me anyway. Everything was falling into place. We had only recently moved into our first home, and now we were going to be parents. However, underneath that excitement, I was nervous about the virus that I had when my period was due. Later that night, I asked Neil if he thought it could have affected our baby. Good question. When we see the doctor at 12 weeks, we will ask him about it. In the meantime, don't worry, you're going to make a great mum. He squeezed my hand to reassure me. Anyway, he said, we have work to do. Our first project, we have a baby's room to get ready. 12 weeks, September 1990, first doctor's appointment. Wow! What wonderful news! Congratulations, you two, Dr. Borry exclaimed. He asked how I was feeling, and I told him I still felt a bit nauseous. I replied, it goes all day, really. I don't understand why they call it morning sickness. My doctor smiled. Unfortunately, that comes with the territory, and it varies with person to person. Some get it very badly and need to be hospitalised due to dehydration, and others don't have any symptoms at all. He then asked me if I had any concerns. I reached for Neil's hand. Actually, I do, I said. Neil then piped up and said, Wendy, just ask. Don't be nervous. What's on your mind? Said Peter. I reminded him of my illness a few weeks ago. You said I had a virus and that the rash was really bad. I'm just worried it might have affected the baby, as I'd missed my period and we did a pregnancy test, but it was negative. I just can't get it out of my mind, that's all. No, Wendy, don't worry. You just had a terrible virus. You'll be okay, and so will the baby. We just need to confirm your dates. Are you sure when this baby was conceived? I was sure. I knew exactly what weekend it was. There was no weekday sex for this tired bunny. He then suggested we go for a scan at 16 weeks instead of 19 weeks to see how things were tracking. I agreed that an early appointment would be reassuring and it would put my mind at ease. Okay, I'll organise that for you. Now off you two go. And Wendy, I'll see you the day after the scan. All right? All right, I said. Brilliant. As we left the doctor's room and hopped into the car, I asked Neil if he was feeling okay with what the doctor said. Yes, he said. Look, there's nothing we can do. I'm sure everything will be fine, so don't worry. Anyway, I'm desperate to tell someone our news. I can't keep this to myself any longer. Let's ring Mum tonight. She'll be stoked. We then chatted about a theme for the baby's room and excitedly planned to go and choose paint and wallpaper this coming weekend. I also bought my first pregnancy book so I could understand more about what was going on within my body. It didn't take us long to choose wallpaper for the baby's room. We decided not to go for a baby's theme, but a toddler theme instead. Paddington Bear wallpaper with red accents and long white drapes. It was going to be incredible. A beautiful space for our beautiful baby, and it didn't matter if it was a boy or a girl. 16 weeks, October 1990, first scan. On arriving at the clinic for my scan, my emotions were all over the place. I was excited, nervous, giggly, and apprehensive all at the same time. This is real. I'm going to be a mama. I was still trying to get my head around the fact that there was this wee human growing in my tummy, a baby. I was just in awe of what my body was capable of doing. By this point, I was comparing the size of my tummy with the pictures in the pregnancy book. I was still quite small for my dates. My tummy looked as if I'd eaten too much or bloated, and I couldn't do my button up on my trousers. My pregnancy book told me at this stage I might start to feel flutters from the baby moving, but I hadn't felt any movement yet. "Mrs. King," the sonographer said, "come through, please." She showed me to a cubicle. "Just pop your clothes off here, except you can leave your undies on. Just come through the room adjacent to the cubicle once your gown is on." The sonographer gently lifted my gown to expose my tummy. "Now I'm going to squeeze some gel on your tummy. It will feel a bit cold, but it's so I can move this wand around easily in the tummy area." She picked up the bottle and squeezed it. It made a farting noise. I gave a nervous laugh. "It does that to me all the time," she said. "Now just relax. I'm going to take some pictures and some measurements of baby." Before I knew it, I was looking at baby's heart, beating away on the monitor. It was amazing. It looked like a butterfly fluttering. This is the moment that cemented in my mind. This was the moment. It was real. I wasn't imagining being a mother. I was going to be a mother. The sonographer continued to sweep my tummy with the wand while clicking away and measuring different parts of the baby. Then she asked me, "Do you think there's a possibility your dates are wrong?" I asked why. "Well, it seems that the baby is smaller than we would expect at 16 weeks, so I'm just double checking." I said I was definite with the dates. "Okay," she said, "I will send the results to your doctor. When are you going to see him next?" I explained that I had an appointment tomorrow. "Oh, that's good," she said. "Okay, I'm just about finished here, then you can go and get dressed." The next day, second doctor's appointment. When I stepped foot into the doctor's room, he greeted me warmly and asked how I was feeling. "I'm feeling fine in myself. I'm not feeling nauseous anymore. However, I am concerned about my scan results. The sonographer thought baby was smaller for dates." The doctor confirmed that he had seen the scan, and the baby was small. "Well, how much smaller?" I asked. "Well, they think he might be up by 3 weeks," he said. I gasped. "No, absolutely not. Something is out of whack here," I said. He assured me there was nothing to worry about and explained he would book me in for another scan at 20 weeks. Another scan at 20 weeks would give us a better picture of baby's growth. "Okay," I replied. To be really honest, I was feeling anxious and worried that something wasn't right. 20 weeks, November 1990, second scan. It felt like an eternity for that day to arrive. I kept saying to myself, everything will be okay. There has just been some sort of technical hitch with that last scan. This one will be fine. Anyway, I had started to feel flutters in my womb. My baby was definitely starting to move around. It was an amazing feeling. knowing a little life was growing, moving, and possibly dancing. I lay there. My tummy felt like it was in knots. The sonographer asked if I was comfortable, and I said, "Yeah, just a bit nervous." "Nervous?" she asked. "Yes. I had a different sonographer for my first scan at 16 weeks, and there seemed to be a problem with the size of the baby in relation to my dates." She explained that this did happen from time to time and encouraged me to try and relax. I wasn't feeling convinced, but when she said my baby's heartbeat was strong, I was slightly relieved. "When do you see your doctor again?" she asked. "Tomorrow," I said. "Very good. I'll send the results through today for him to review." Nothing was mentioned about baby size, and I was too scared to ask. The next day, third doctor's appointment. It would be fair to say that today couldn't have come soon enough. I wanted to get to the bottom of how my pregnancy was really going. My doctor's body language and tone showed a bit of concern during this visit. This was something I was very good at, that is, learning to read body language. At a young age, determining the signs, was I in trouble or not? "Wendy, remember during your last appointment, there was concern over your dates," he said. "Yes, that's right. How could I forget?" I thought. "What did the scan confirm? Is everything ticking along as it should be?" I asked eagerly. "Well, it appears now that you might be out by 6 weeks, was his reply. "What? No." I could feel my stomach knotting up, my throat tightening, and tears starting to prick my eyes. I can't really describe exactly how or what I was thinking, but I stopped hearing. Everything in my mind was slowing down, and I felt like I was in this movie where the voice is slow and muffled. This wasn't happening. It can't be. I started shaking. Lots of thoughts were going through my head. "It's okay, don't worry, Wendy," the doctor said. And as if he was reading my mind, he asked, was I getting any movement? "Yes," I said. "I'm definitely feeling the baby wriggling around." He assured me that this was a great sign. "Look," he said, "I don't want you to worry, I just want you to take note of how much movement you are getting from the baby. If it appears to slow down or stop, contact me straight away." Yeah, I thought. I didn't feel convinced. He booked me in for another appointment in 4 weeks' time, just before the Christmas holidays, as the practice would be closed for 3 weeks. I was raised not to question anyone in authority. However, I was worried. I couldn't help myself. So I found the courage to ask, as I was preparing to leave, "Are you sure there's nothing to worry about?" I felt so awkward for second-guessing the doctor. "I'm sure, Wendy. See you in 4 weeks. On returning to work after my appointment, I searched for Bev. I couldn't help feeling nervous and anxious. I needed someone that I could trust and confide in. Bev was like my adopted mother. She was the right person to go to for reassurance and a cuddle. She would always listen to what you had to say and never tried to fix you. She is the best friend you can ever have. I so needed her right now. Over the next 4 weeks, I literally buried myself in pregnancy books to understand everything about my body, the baby and pregnancy. There was nothing I didn't want to know. The books were consistent in saying that the information published was a guide only, and everyone was unique, and every pregnancy was different. This gave me some comfort, as my tummy certainly was not expanding at the rate shown in my books. I was beginning to enjoy my food again, and I wasn't feeling as exhausted. My energy was returning. Thank goodness. This gave me a little bit of hope. 24 weeks, December 1990. 4th doctor's appointment. Blood pressure taken, urine test taken, weight taken. All good. But my tummy was still looking bloated rather than pregnant. "You look happy and you're glowing," my doctor said. "Are you getting more definite kicks or movement from baby?" Laughing, I told him I was. Sometimes I think there's an aerobic session going on in there. He then examined my tummy to check the position of baby. I would be lying if I wasn't worried, but pushed those thoughts to the back of my mind, but still asked if everything was all right. As a first-time mum, I just needed some reassurance that everything was going to be okay. Yes, you do seem small for your dates, but it isn't unusual to carry near the back rather than the front of your tummy for some expectant mothers. He asked if I had any plans for Christmas. Yes, we're going camping with another couple in Lauder, Central Otago, I said. Oh, that sounds like fun. You will certainly feel the heat, he replied. Well, have a good time when you're away, no heavy lifting, mind, and we will see you in the new year. Just make an appointment with the receptionist on your way out. 28 weeks, January 1991, 5th doctor's appointment. When I arrived at my next appointment, the GP was concerned that my bump had not grown in the past 4 weeks. However, as all of my other observations were fine, nothing further was said. An appointment was scheduled in 2 weeks, just to keep an eye on things. 30 weeks, 5th of February 1991, 6th doctor's appointment. When I woke up that morning, I asked Neil if he could come to the appointment with me. I just felt off. He agreed and asked if I was okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel a bit anxious. I also think it will be interesting to see what the doctor thinks of my progress, that's all. I can't help thinking about a comment one of the girls made yesterday at work about my tummy. She said that Tim's bare belly was bigger than mine and jokingly asked where the baby was hiding. She was right. I had been thinking it. She said it. She was only stating the obvious, and in my mind, the truth of the matter. It was the first real twinge that all was not well. Neil tried to play it down but agreed she was right. Look, just tell the doctor what you're feeling and we'll go from there. He headed off for work, promising to return to pick me up at 10:30 a.m. As he drove away, I couldn't help feeling very uneasy. 11 o'clock at the doctor's clinic. Today the doctor got straight to the point. Yes, Wendy and Nell, I'm not sure what is going on here, and as a precautionary measure, I'm going to request an emergency scan. I'll book you into Marinoto Clinic now. Tomorrow is a public holiday and I want to get onto this sooner rather than later. I will need to see you on Thursday to discuss the results. In the meantime, just take it easy and don't worry. Don't worry, I said to myself. Yeah, right. 7th of February 1991, 3rd scan. The scan revealed there was a discrepancy in the size of baby with regard to my dates. No surprises there. This needed further investigation. A medical certificate was written for my place of employment to have the next day off work. I needed to be admitted to hospital as a day patient in the antenatal department so further tests could be made, so that baby's heartbeat could be monitored. 8th of February 1991, antenatal ward. 9 a.m, admitted to the antenatal ward. 9:30 a.m, advised that I would be in the day to monitor baby's heartbeat. It was expected that I would leave and return home at approximately 4:30 p.m. 11:30 a.m, concerns that baby's heartbeat was a bit erratic, although there was lots of movement from baby. 2 p.m, sent for a scan to measure the size of baby, heart rate and flow of blood to the umbilical cord. 4:30 p.m, visited by the obstetrician on duty, who said that there was a change of plan and they wanted to keep me in for a couple of days, so they could give me a series of injections to help with the development of baby's lungs. Then they would reassess the situation. Those injections were painful. Wiggle your toes, said the nurse. Wiggle your toes, you won't feel the pain. Pain? It was like a knitting needle going into your backside. It was also suggested that I might be staying in hospital until baby's due date. That could be 8 weeks. 8 weeks? Crikey! 9th of February 1991, 9 a.m. I was visited by the obstetrician to see how my night was and asked how I was feeling. I said I was comfortable, but started to get a bit anxious with all the questions being asked. I was beginning to feel like there was more to worry about than what was being let on. He reassured me that he would keep me up to date with any new information or change of plans. 11:30 a.m. The nurse who was looking after me asked if I could get hold of Neil and if he could come in soon, as the doctor was coming back to see me at 1 p.m. and he wanted to speak to both of us. 1 p.m. The obstetrician was very kind but concerned. He advised us of the following. Emma's heart rate was stable sometimes, then it fluctuated. She was undersized for her term in utero. The scan showed that the blood supply from my placenta to her was not performing well. There are 3 blood vessels that are within the umbilical cord. One had shut down, and another one was in the process of shutting down. She was 31.5 weeks old, but the size of a 24-week-old baby. The doctor recommended for the best interest of baby's growth and survival that she was better out than in, that is, staying in the womb. They were making plans on performing a caesarean section tomorrow afternoon under general anaesthetic. This was because they didn't know what baby's overall condition was going to be like. However, they did confirm that once baby was delivered, her new home for the next few weeks would be in the neonatal intensive care unit, known as NICU, where she would be under 24-hour care. The obstetrician was so matter-of-fact. I'll go to church on Sunday in the morning, pop home for a quick bite for lunch, then I'll come down and we'll deliver this baby. Right, I thought, taking it all in. So there we have it. It would be fair to say that right at that moment I was thinking, you're off your head. That is Scottish for you're crazy. This was a lot of information to take in. We were going to be parents tomorrow. This is not right. I still had at least another 8 weeks to go. I was completely dumbfounded. 1 minute I was only coming into the hospital to be monitored for 1 day, to now being told, guess what? You're having a baby tomorrow. We were both feeling excited and scared at the same time. Neil was panicking, as sudden surprises are not his strong suit. We then spent the afternoon telephoning family that we were going to be parents tomorrow. Emma was going to be the first grandchild for both sides of the family.